4, 3, 2, 1. KenCast.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see all your beautiful faces. Welcome to another KenCast. It's going to be a good one today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about all the news, everything that's going on. We're going to be talking what's on your mind. So if you're watching live, please contribute to the live chat. Say hi. Tell us what you think. If you're not watching live and watching on the replay, go ahead and leave a comment below the video. We want to hear all your thoughts, and we can still see it and interact with it. And it is great to have you today. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoy the KenCast, go ahead and like and subscribe to the Ken Cole channel. Really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a fun day. It's a day when adults get to behave like children. Well, not really, because real men and women and everyone in the world plays with action figures. I think it's okay to do that. We're going to go over the Terry Silver action figure. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. And in order to do this, I can think of few people better than our very special guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Drew Rohaly. Drew, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ken. Thank you for having me back on the KenCast. I know it's been a while. I've been MIA, but I'm still here. I'm doing great. We've got Terry Silver in action figure form. I can't complain. I mean, this is just a special special day for all Terry Silver fans out there. I know there's a lot of us now these days. I think we've grown in numbers over the past couple of years.
I think you're right. That's so exciting, Drew. Like, because we've been talking about this stuff for a long time, and now it's like we can share this passion with so many more people. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm just glad the fact that like we're able to talk about this in the year 2024. Like the fact that this exists and we're just able to chat about it. It makes me so happy.
I know. And one thing I was thinking about today is this action figure, this Terry Silver action figure is an action figure that I think I wanted 35 years ago, and it's taken 35 years for it to come out, but it's here.
It is. It's funny, man, because for the longest time, like I had always looked to see if this would exist or you could find one. And there was one guy, I honestly forgot the name, so I wish I could shout him out. But back in the day, if you Googled this, there was a person that made a custom of it. I don't know what parts they used or how they made it, but it was young Terry with like not young Terry, but like middle Terry, right? Whatever Karate
Right.
Kid 3 Terry is. Dark hair, slick back ponytail, all of that. And I thought, man, I wish I could make one of those, but I'm not as talented as those folks. So I leave it to the toy companies and, and the customizers out there. But man, let me tell you, like it's pretty awesome that they exist. Now we just need to go back and maybe we can customize it because we can paint the hair dark. So and maybe change the gi.
Oh,
Like the sculpt is already there. But I would love to see a Karate Kid 3 version of Terry if we're lucky one day.
yes. And Dave Schrock, I had him on a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how, all the different versions. We were talking about all the different versions of Karate Kid 3 Terry that, we'd need, Terry dressing poor, Ascot Terry, Terry in the tux with the ribbon in
Yep.
his hair.
Silky
Like,
Terry.
yes, Silky
Bomber
Terry, like,
jacket Terry. That's what I need.
yes. Like, wouldn't if they announced a lineup of those Terrys, wouldn't you have to get them?
Take my money, please. Like
Yeah.
they could print money if they had that. So I wish that they could make it because just having this one alone has already sort of got me ready for any other versions. So we need that. We need that. And I agree with you and Dave.
Yeah, yeah. And it's one of those few things in life, Drew, that I think I would, if I needed to, I'd open a new credit card just to get the $1,000 set. Like, I don't advocate poor financial skills or anything like that, but I think that is the one case where I'd be weak and I'd have to do something like that.
There's very few things that are worth it, and I can with confidence say that this is worth it. So
Indeed. Oh my gosh. Well, everyone, it's so great to see you. We're going to go down and just say hi to everyone who's joined us for the live chat today. You could be watching on YouTube, Facebook, and now X/Twitter. If you make a comment, it shows up here. So go ahead and do it and say
nice.
hi. Let us know what you think. Matt Moore says hi. Hey, Ken and Drew, chat about Terry Silver. Let's go. See y'all soon. That's
Hey,
wonderful.
Matt.
DJ Club rules. Terry Silver will be free from jail. What do you think
Can
about that,
hope.
Drew?
One can only hope, DJ Club. I would hope that he shouldn't be in jail to begin with. I mean, let's be serious. We've had that discussion, but I don't mean to rehash it, but he shouldn't even be in there. So he's
He,
innocent.
no, I totally agree. He shouldn't be in there. AEH, thanks for being a channel member. Thanks for saying hi. Save Silver. Yes, we'll get him out of jail. Um, Jasmine, thanks for joining us today.
Hey,
Great to
Jasmine.
see you. Maybe from the Netherlands. So
All
that's
right.
wonderful. Spooky Fangirl. Hey, Ken and Drew. How you doing, Spooky
Hello.
Fangirl? Dale, great to see you, Dale. Wonderful to see you. Nerd World, hello. Oh, K-Tom, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Great to see you. Drew, she has an entire family of Terry Silver fans. It's really incredible.
I'm glad that others can appreciate the magnificence of Terry Silver.
And as a personal note, just to reiterate that, guys, I don't know about you, Drew. I want you to comment on this. It felt for so many years so lonely. It's like you're personally aware of the greatness of Terry Silver, but it's like the world at large didn't seem to understand that. And now the world does. I don't know. I feel like there's this family now that we're a part of.
I agree with you. It's funny because when we first met each other, right? It was actually over Terry Silver. It's funny, our friend Chris, mutual friend of the show and our show, Chris Maffei, he's been on here a bunch of
Yes.
times. That's how I met Chris actually through Terry Silver. And it's kind of funny because you're right, like appreciating this movie for so long that probably people look down on. It's almost like I mean, I wasn't shy about it, right? Like we talked about how awesome this villain from this like little known third movie and a sequel was. And you're right. I feel like there was a small community of people, but I think I made a post actually on my Instagram account when I finally got a chance to kind of unveil that I had the figure. And I thanked John Josh Hayden, everyone else that's sort of associated with Cobra Kai, anybody possible. Because to be honest, like I never thought of the day that he would come back. And also Thomas Ian Griffith too. Like he put on a master class of a performance and he decided to reprise the character. I mean, I feel really lucky the fact that something that was that sort of loved at that time by a small group of people is now being able to be enjoyed by a much wider audience. So I'm really excited, and we've speculated it for many years. Like, do you think people will go back and watch the original now and appreciate it for what it was? And I like to think that people do now because it was great back then and it's great now. So
Yes, yes. I totally agree. And Drew, I have that Instagram
oh,
post. I'm bringing
thanks.
that up right now. And would you like to read it?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's funny, like, I have the figure in hand here too, so I'll just kind of flash it up here, but, like, when I knew this thing was coming out, I couldn't believe it, and I just had to get it, and I had a pre-order in, like, forever, and it kept getting delayed, kept getting delayed. The reason why I said this, so I said, "If you told me back in 2015 that I'd have the chance to own a Terry Silver action figure, I wouldn't have believed you." I have a lot of figures I post sometimes on my account. I collect a lot of different things, mostly like DC Comics stuff. I'm sort of the DC Comics fan, maybe one of the few out there these days. But I, of course, had to get this, and I just think it's one of my favorite things because of what it is. And to be honest, like I don't know if they'll ever see this or if they saw my post, but I just wanted to thank John, Josh, and Hayden and anybody else associated with the show for bringing the character back. I mean, it's one thing to just have a cameo or something like that, but they expertly wrote him and gave him an awesome sort of resurrection and character arc. And honestly, to Thomas Ian Griffith too, like it was one thing to just be the character again, but he went all in. And I think any fan of Karate Kid 3 would be appreciative of that performance, and it's just amazing. Someone who wasn't acting for a long time to come back into this character that is so sort of was an underground hit. It's just awesome that he came back. So, Hayden, John, Josh, if you guys ever see this, thank you, and everyone else associated with the show. I mean, it's just a really, really cool thing that he's back. So thank you guys, and I don't know if they'll ever see it, but I hope they do. So
Very, very well said, Drew. My goodness. It's touching. It is so
moving him.
touching. It's very
I
moving.
feel like a nerd about it, but honestly, I don't care. I love Terry Silver. I don't care. You guys know that by now after seeing me for a couple years here, but Unashamed.
Absolutely. We're with you, Drew. We're all with you. Um, Tig Terry Silver Rock says hello,
Eh,
and I want to take this moment to thank Tig Terry Silver Rocks because she is executive
all
producer
right.
of KenCast. So thank you so much. It's great to have you here. Man, we have so many people saying hi. I think everyone just is into Terry today, which is great. Simone says hi. Jason says hi. Uh, Ryan says hi. Save Silver. Save
Save
Silver.
Silver. He's
We'll have to do
innocent.
more Save Silver soon. NASA Canes fan, thanks for being a channel member. Terry Silver's the man. Jaws, hey Ken, hey Drew. Toy Silver
Hey,
Rock.
Jaws.
And stay tuned, guys. We'll play with our action figures. Don't worry. Um, I want to know what the song is. I don't
Oh, your
know.
intro song, I think.
Oh, the intro song. I'm trying to remember. I think it's called Digital Battleground.
It sounds
Um,
like a digital battleground. I like it.
it it does. It does.
Good name.
Darkest. Oh, thank you. Darkest Hour, hello. Rabana, thanks for being a channel member. Jane Mott says, I think there are some people who collect toy figures.
I'm one of them.
I might
Unashamed.
be starting. I might be starting. Um, Marianella, guys,
Hey,
thank you
Mariella.
so much for saying hello. Continue to say hi. And it's great. Oh my goodness, is that for real? My goodness. Uh
Whoa.
NASA Canes fan. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the super chat. $300. I think you're going to be funding this channel for months. I really appreciate that so much. NASA Canes fan says, imagine a Terry action figure and a Karate Kid arcade video game.
Oh,
I
that would
know
be
LJN made a Nintendo game of Karate Kid with the tournament in Karate Kid 1 and Okinawa in Karate Kid 2. Imagine if there'd been a 1980s arcade cabinet video game with part 1, 2, and 3. It would be cool to have arcade one-up license and it release it today.
that would be awesome. That would be so awesome. I was just talking to somebody, and I don't know if you were an arcade sort of like frequenter, Ken, but I used to be, and there's something so fun about playing in the arcades and, like, a Karate Kid arcade video game. Like, we were just actually talking about Die Hard recently, and there's a Die Hard video game that was, like there was for PlayStation, it wasn't there was an arcade version of it, but there was, like, Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, and Die Hard 3, and each one of them was a little bit different. I feel like that would be really cool to NASA's point, if you had, like, a different thing for Karate Kid 1, then 2, and 3 would be incredible. That'd be awesome.
Yes, I totally agree, and I mean, think of the levels. I mean, you could have, like, I assume it would be kind of like a beat 'em up,
Yeah.
but, I mean, geez, Karate Kid 3, I mean, a level in Terry's mansion, wouldn't that be incredible?
It would be amazing. Like, the first one I think would probably be a more straightforward. I don't know, it was maybe more like hanging out and doing stuff and then having to do the tournament. The second one
Right,
would be a little bit more of an adventure game, to your point, like, maybe do
right.
something in Okinawa, and then you go to the 3rd. You're right, you gotta escape Terry's mansion. Like, I can see all the levels in my head right now of just different things that you you get to do.
Right. Oh, and Devil's Cauldron, like,
Be
actually
amazing.
going down,
You
wouldn't
get
that
to
be
climb
incredible?
out, and then
Yeah.
Barnes is chasing you and Snake and Dennis. I mean, give me all of those guys in video game form. That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be absolutely incredible. I feel like we're at the point where something like that could still happen. Like, I wonder if there could be a retro game, for those movies. I don't know, because we
Yeah,
we have the Cobra Kai games, but I'm wondering if I don't know if they do that, but that would be
it
I
would be
would buy it.
cool. Well, like, we were playing Turtles with Strife, remember that? When that was pretty
Yes.
fun because the Turtles like, I love those style of games, like the couch co-op, beat 'em up, talk about arcade games, like the X-Men arcade game, the Ninja Turtles arcade game, all of those games, you do a Karate Kid game in that style, that would be incredible, and you could play as, like, different people, would be really cool to have different characters and stuff. Kinda like with Turtles, you could be any of the Turtles or Splinter. It's really cool. I think that style is coming back too. I think it serves it well. If you guys are listening, any video game developers out there, get the license, please do this for us.
100%. And it's the year, right? It's a Cobra Kai Karate Kid year. There's a new Karate Kid movie, so it'd be a great tie-in, I think. Dale says we need a Silver and Crease Funko Pop.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
that'd be great. Um, Jane Mott says that the action figure has karate chop action. It has a karate chop hand.
Yes, there's multiple hands. I think what is it? He has two sort of fist hands, like he's doing some stance, and then he's got karate hands. He's got sort of I don't even know what you would call those, almost gesture hands, and then something like he's holding something. So altogether, there's four sets of hands, but no action. But you can kind of pose them like that if you really want to.
Yes. I let's see. We need a Ken collection figure.
We do.
Oh yeah, right.
Yes, we do.
I don't know what kind of action it would do, but yeah, it's yeah, that would be a lot of fun. And a Drew one.
Yeah.
Like I think we need a Drew and everyone who comes on here. That would be fun to
Yeah.
have one. But thank you. Thank you for the thought. Jaws, this is a question for you, Drew. Do you prefer a toy of Vigo the Carpathian or a toy of a painting of Vigo
Oh,
the Carpathian?
well, I have an answer for you, Joss. So I have a painting on my wall over there of Vigo the Carpathian. So it's in my house. And actually, my co-host Badway, who's been on this show before, I bought him a figure of Vigo the Carpathian before back in the day. So he's got that on his shelf if you see him when we do the streams, I think. And it came with a little painting. So it was a toy painting of the painting with the figure of Vigo. It's pretty awesome. So both.
So
I don't know if
cool.
that's a cop-out answer, but both.
That is so cool. Dark Sour says, I feel having a painting of Vigo in any form is like having a Ouija board. That's with fate.
I am afraid he's looking at me, you know? It's like, do you ever get the feeling that painting's looking at you? I do sometimes. Sometimes he follows me around the room. It's a risk I'm willing
It's
to take.
never Drew, the painting has never shot sparks into your eyes, has it?
Not that I can admit, put it that way.
Okay. Okay. So everyone, Drew may be under the control of Vigo, which by the way is a very cool thing. You know, we're all Vigo fans. Governor says, thanks for good to see you, Ander. And hey, Ken, any silver content's greatly appreciated. Hashtag save silver. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have another super chat from NASA Kane's fan. Thank you so much. I brought it up because Grace One Up did a Star Wars game and included The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. There were games for those that were not common, but it's in the arcade One Up game. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, like Arcade One Up is cool. Like I know people talk about, oh, if you want to make your custom cabinets and stuff, but I think Arcade One Up is awesome because it allows you to get different. And honestly, it's about the look a lot of times to me too. Like I've seen other YouTubers that have them like in the back and they're just kind of going, but I think that's awesome. Like I would love to have the Street Fighter 2 one just because it looks so cool and I love Street Fighter as well, but that would be awesome. I didn't realize they had a Star Wars one though. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's very cool. Wow, guys, thank you so much for the comments. We are going to try to get to as many of them as possible. But Drew, we have a lot to discuss today. We have a lot to cover. First off, everyone, if you're not listening to the Last Row podcast, you need to be, because I know everyone watching this right now is a movie fan and a fan of those vintage, classic, nostalgic movies. The Last Row podcast is my favorite podcast that really analyzes these movies. And it's with Drew and Badway. You guys are such great friends to KenCast. You're such great fans of Terry Silver. You did the original analysis on the internet of Terry Silver back in 2015 when no one was talking about Terry Silver. No one was talking about Cobra Kai. You guys did it. And I want to bring up, you guys did Die Hard is your new episode. You guys keep putting out new episodes. Can you tell us, Drew, a bit about the Last Row podcast and this new episode?
Yeah, so if you guys haven't checked our show out, check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys listen to shows. You can check our website out, thelastrowpodcast.com. But we're a movie podcast. We put episodes out every other Thursday religiously, except for the last couple of weeks. We had a couple of snafus. But we try to do, I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So for me, a lot of the movies that I watch are around this time. We have sort of a love for action movies, some of the older 90s, like sort of kids movies and things like that. We've been talking about doing Die Hard since we started the show back in like 2013 or 2014. And honestly, we had it planned as a quote Christmas episode because I know that's like a debate that everyone has. But we finally did it. And I mean, we talk about a lot of the things inside of the world of the movie, not so much analyzing like, is it a great movie or not? We like to break down the characters. For example, we had a very detailed discussion on would you rather walk on broken glass or hot sand? Like just random things like that we think of when we, I don't know, when we watch these movies. But we had a really fun time talking about this one in particular. It was a lot of fun. I love Bruce Willis. I love Die Hard. The series itself is great, and it gave us a chance to kind of go back and check it out. But we recently did Christmas Vacation, a bunch of Schwarzenegger movies, but we kind of do all over the place, things all over the place. And if you have any requests, write in and let us know. We've taken a lot of listener requests as well, and we have an extensive back catalog. So if you go to our website, you'll see. I think we're 145 we're up to. So a lot of
Wow.
episodes, probably a lot of the movies that you've seen or not seen, and go check them out and let us know what you think. And thanks for letting me plug that.
Of course. And I have to say, Drew, you picked this amazing shot of Hans Gruber. It's a classic shot. It's absolutely incredible. And he is a great villain. He is a great
Amazing.
movie villain. So I have to ask you, because guys, if you didn't know, the Last Word podcast has a patented villain scale, which you've seen, and they have this objective scale where they rate villains of all these movies. And I don't want you to spoil anything, but we have to talk about Hans Gruber versus Terry Silver.
Oh yeah.
Um, Drew, just off the top of your head, Terry Silver against Hans Gruber, which is the better villain? Who would win? What do you think?
Without spoiling the scale, so you go back and listen to our episode, we break it down. So if you guys haven't seen our show, I think we've used the scale on this KenCast before too. But what we do is we break the villains down into four major categories. So what we'll try to do is we talk about their look or their style, like how do they look? Uh, do they have a hideout or lair? Most villains do, some don't. What is their plan? How do they want to dominate the world, and what are they trying to do to achieve, their evil plots? And then, in a category that's my personal favorite is henchmen. So a lot of times we'll get into some debates about henchmen, what's a henchman versus a sub boss versus like, I don't know, just a right hand man. Uh, when we broke down Hans Gruber, it was interesting because I thought he was going to break the scale, but I feel like that he got tripped up in a couple areas, things that I think you could give Terry like a straight up 5 for. And when we talk about the rating, we give him a 1 through a 5. 5 is the highest, 1 is basically the lowest you could possibly go. But I got to be honest, Ken, it's hard to top Terry. I mean, we scaled him, I think, together, and I'm pretty sure he got a 19 out of 20 or something, or was an 18 out of
19.
20.
Yes.
I'd have to go back and look. I keep saying I'm gonna do this too. So when we came back on episode 70 after our hiatus, I started scaling everybody like objectively here. And we have a spreadsheet where we have everybody in there. And I'm gonna publish it one day. I promise. I keep saying I will, and then I don't do it. But you can see how they rank. I won't spoil what Hans Gruber is, but I can tell you he did really well on Henchmen, and he did really well on his plan, because I feel like if it wasn't for Bruce Willis, John McClane, his plan would have worked. We
Mhm.
know where Terry is. I mean, Terry's just evil and amazing. And, actually, I'm gonna take the word evil back. I'm gonna take it back. I think he just has a
Sure.
vision for things. So I think he
Mhm.
has things that he wants to achieve, and he has ways to do it. So I gotta give it to Terry, though. I gotta give it to Terry. I mean, Hans Gruber's an amazing villain, and Alan Rickman, talk about great actors. I mean, amazing performance. And Hans Gruber is iconic when you think about, action movies and movie villains. So he's up there, but I would say Terry is higher. I don't know if you agree.
I I think so. Like, it's tough because Hans Gruber, you're right, is obviously very smart. He's very intelligent. But I think Terry, in many ways, is just as, if not more intelligent. He is lethal without weapons, without guns,
Mhm.
and he's actually better integrated into the normal world. So I think like he's able to con people into, well, con, of course, he's very respectable, Terry Silver. He's a businessman. But I think Hans Gruber, he seems to be kind of like on the outs, you know. So it'd be probably harder for him to operate in the normal world. Yeah, I think I'd agree with you, but I have to say, Drew, could you imagine a scene between Thomas Ian Griffith and
Oh,
Alan Rickman? Wouldn't that be insane?
man, talk about And unfortunately, gone too soon. Talk about people that are gone too soon. Alan Rickman's he was an amazing actor. I mean, you think about some of the other characters that he's played. I joked on our show, it's gonna sound really stupid, but one character that I'll always remember by him specifically was the character from Love Actually. I thought he did a good job as the character there. I know he's in Harry Potter. I mean, he's in a bunch of other things, and man, he just an amazing actor. And you put the two of them together on screen, both Alan Rickman and Thomas, it'd be incredible. I would
It,
I wish we got that.
I know, me too. And Jaws makes a really good point. Hans Gruber falls the same way as Captain Turner,
Maybe there were
and
snakes on the bottom of the Nakatomi Plaza there.
maybe so. Oh, an extra brutal end for Hans Gruber. Yes. Um, let's see. Okay, so everyone check out the Last Word podcast. I've got a link down to the YouTube channel and everything else. They're wherever you listen to podcasts. So thank you, Drew, for coming
Thank
on.
you.
And that's so much fun. And I got to be careful because we could easily talk about Die Hard for the next 3 hours, and the entire series.
I'm happy to
Okay,
do that
guys.
sometime whenever you want.
Hey, and if you guys want to do something like that, let us know. I mean, we talk about all kinds of things. So, Drew, I think we need to get to the main show today, and that's
Yeah.
these Terry Silver toys. Um, you have yours, right?
I do. It's right here. I got him, and I posed him up as if he was, like, kind of standing there, and it's hard because some of the articulation is a little stiff, but I was trying to
Right.
get him so that he was sort of standing there, in the dojo, like, observing the students, just kind of
That
standing there.
that is brilliant, Drew. Because this is kind of how he comes. Let me.
Yeah.
Is this kind of focus? All right, I'll back this up. So this is kind of how he comes in the box, but you have him posing like Terry, which is absolutely fantastic. And I have to ask you questions because Drew,
Sure.
me and other people who got this figure who aren't into action figures or were just getting into it, there you go. Yep.
He looks
There are some
awesome.
questions. Okay, so it comes in the box. You had the box.
Yeah.
This
I got
this
it
is
here
the
too.
box.
Yep.
So it comes in this box, right? And you've got all those pieces, and yeah, there are other figures that come. Okay, so you've got this.
Oh, the stand. Yeah, the stand.
Okay,
I didn't take it out yet. I just kinda kept it in, and he's got, like, what you would call, like, a flight stand traditionally, but it's more for posing and stuff. I think they also attach that in there as well, and I think that also goes into the stand.
okay. So like, just pretend I know nothing about like action
Yeah.
figures. So this thing he kind of put him in,
Mhm.
so he stands on this.
Yep.
Okay.
You've got the foot
He
peg.
he comes with these other hands, like
Mhm.
that's like a tiger claw hand. You guys can maybe see that just a little bit. It's like a tiger claw hand. He comes with a karate chop hand. I don't know if you guys can see that karate chop. But the biggest thing I've got a problem with, Drew, is this component that comes
Yes.
with it.
Yeah.
What is this?
So I think what you wanna do is if you look in his back, I don't know if you're gonna see it here, but there's a hole.
Okay.
So you got that, and then what you can do is put that in the bottom of the stand, and then it's gonna allow you I think there's a hole in the stand too. So then what you can do is you can use that to put him into different, like, martial arts, poses and things like that. Sometimes these things are to be honest, like, I get, like, a lot of aftermarket ones just because some of the ones that come with the figures aren't so great, but it has a bunch of different points of articulation on the stand as well, and it's got a screw so that if it starts to get loose, you can tighten it. But
Okay.
what you can do is put him into different kicks and different poses and whatnot. You can also take it apart and sort of position it how you want to, if you want it to just be more of like a straight up stand, like if he's not standing right. But what you can do then is you can use this to put him into different martial arts poses and kicks and things like that. So if you're having a hard time, and I don't know though if it's gonna really support him. Most like flight stands, I actually don't have one handy here right now. I have a couple over there, but they grip around like their back. So actually, if you see my Superman that's like right here,
Mm-hmm.
he's
Sure.
flying and he's kind of floating because he's got the peg around his like around his waist. Same thing with this one too. I have Superboy up there. He's like flying on that little flight stand. This one's
Oh,
more of like a peg that it's tough. Like I don't know that this is really going to support his weight, and you're really going to need to use these screws to kind of tighten it. So I could send you a link of some, like especially here, it's super loose. So I don't know if it's going to be so great. Not my favorite part of the figure, I would say. Um, but the fact that it exists, I mean, we can get other parts aftermarket here to make it a little bit better. I don't know if that does that help. I don't know if you're able to get him in there, but that'll go in the bottom, and then you can kind of use it to yeah.
okay. So is he supposed to? So with this little thingy in here, is he supposed to be over the stand, or is he off the? Can he be like to the side of the stand?
I think it
Oops.
depends
Or
on how you wanna do it, and actually,
okay.
I might switch the peg do the opposite where you have the one in the bottom here because 'cause you're not gonna get the weight as
Ah,
much. You wanna put this part in, like, the longer part in, because then it'll probably support the weight, and you might need a screwdriver to just tighten this a little bit.
okay. Wow. Okay, thank you, Drew. That's
Yeah.
very helpful. And I know to all of us who might not know anything like me of about this. So let's talk about just okay, this is amazing. We have Terry Silver as an action figure. What are your thoughts about this figure? Because obviously you know a
Yeah.
lot about action figures.
I'll go back and forth on it. So I think was it 25 or 30? I don't remember what I paid for it.
I
It's
think
like
it was
a
25.
25, which is a pretty good price, honestly. It's Diamond Select, so I don't know if there's other collectors out there. I have a John Wick figure here. Let me show you.
Oh, awesome. Man, they make action figures about everything.
Very similar articulation to other Diamond toys. So I've got John Wick here. So I
Oh,
love
that's
John
great.
Wick. Same thing, and it's a little stiffer on the joints, to be honest. I think sometimes people say like use a little bit of heat. But I think the likeness is pretty good. I go back and forth on it, like, it depends on how the angle and the lighting and stuff like that. They nailed the ponytail, I'm glad.
Mhm.
Sometimes I think sometimes depending on the angle, like, the face looks a little bit like Thomas and sometimes it doesn't. But I think if you get the right lighting, it does. But it's got, like, some decent articulation. It's just a little stiff, and I feel like the other Diamond toys that I have are kinda like that. But he's got, like, foot swivel and things like that. He's got double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, so you can get him. He also has, like, a bicep swivel, which is cool. And then his wrists are also so if you change out the hands, like I don't know if I can do this here without so you can pop them off, and then but you can see it also has like a little bit of a swivel there too, just a joint.
Mm.
So you can move it around a little bit, but it's easy to swap things in and out. But I mean, overall, like I think it looks pretty good. I do wish that there was a version with the dark hair as well, just so we got that. But I can't complain too much. I mean, mine's a little bit loose in some of the joints, but I'm not I'm not looking to get Terry into, like, super dynamic poses. Like,
Right.
I'll actually show you guys this too. I've got I collect some of these and they're,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
imported figures. So, this is my Terminator from T800. It's a company called Mafex or Mafex. People say them differently. These are, like, super articulated where you can get them into all kinds of weird poses. Like, I'm not expecting that this guy is gonna be in all kinds of crazy kicks and things. I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna keep him standing there looking at people, like, disapprovingly in the dojo. That's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do.
That's
Um,
what Terry does best.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing I'll say is you just have to be careful when you're like, for anybody that is not used to swapping out hands and stuff, when I first got some of these types of figures, like, I've snapped joints before. So if it's not going in, like, don't force it, you just have to kinda, like you could use heat or run it under a little bit of hot water too. Sometimes it makes it a little bit more pliable. So, like, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting the hand back in, so I'm not gonna force that because it might snap. Just so I wanna save people, like, 25 bucks again, so you're not trying to buy a new one.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
but yeah, I mean, I think it looks good. I mean, I don't know how you feel the likeness looks. I mean, it looks generally like him.
You know, you know what I think? I got the figure because obviously we saw the pictures when it was first put up for pre-order. And then looking at it in person, I don't know if you agree with me, Drew. It looks like they merged
Yes.
Thomas Ian Griffith with Nick Marini.
It does actually.
It really does. It looks like
It
you
does.
could look at this, sometimes it kinda looks like Nick Marini is Terry Silver, and sometimes it looks like Thomas Ian Griffith.
Yeah, it does. I think it's tough, man, because I go back and forth because sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Wow, that really looks like him," and then some angles, I'm like, it doesn't." Like, even the picture that I posted, I feel like it's hard. I think it looks better in person than in the pictures.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that, but I actually do think it looks better when you have it in hand. Like, it's I don't know if you guys can this is really picking up, but,
Oh, yeah.
when you see the different angles, like, it looks pretty
The
good.
profile looks pretty good. The
Yeah.
profile really looks like
It's
Thomas Ian Griffith, I think.
yeah, and honestly, like, I think I'm gonna get another one, and I think I'm gonna paint the hair black. I think I'm gonna do it just
Awesome.
because I don't know, I wanna have both, and I might change, like, the color and stuff. I'm not really a customizer, like, there's some awesome YouTube customizers out there and Instagram customizers. I haven't really done a lot, but, I think this one would be pretty easy. You could get a little bit of paint and put that on there on the hair, and it would look just like Karate Kid 3 Terry, I think.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah, Drew, if you do that, please keep us updated, and we might have to have you on here to show off the new
Yeah.
dark hair Terry Silver.
Yeah. Does anyone else have this? I don't know if anyone like, I'd love to know if other people pick this thing up. I think Peter got it, Cobra Kai Companion. Because he showed it to us. I don't know if others were able to pick this up, but I definitely recommend it if you're a fan. There's the other figures too, so there's Chosen, Johnny, and they had Kreese, I think this is series 2, if I'm not mistaken. There was a series that came out a couple of years ago. So there's different versions of Johnny out there that you can see. I think the newest one is Eagle Fang. It's the red gi. I think the
Mhm.
original was the Cobra Kai gi, but, they're generally, I think, the same body. I think they just do different head sculpts. So, you're not getting that much of a different figure, but I still think they look pretty cool. The Johnny one looks a lot like William, I think. So, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, and I think with this series, they also have a chosen one,
Yeah.
which is kinda awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys here, I'll show the picture. I don't know if you can see this. Is that here you go.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, I think they look cool. And I do think the chosen one looks like Yuji. He's got like sort of an angry face, which is cool. Uh, but it's kind of interesting. And what's cool is they give you I got to shout out. They don't do this enough, to be honest, on toys and stuff and figures. But it says who actually sculpted it, which is really cool. Which gives credit to the artist, which is pretty
That
awesome.
is great.
So I like that they did that. So this was sculpted by Chris Dahlberg and Rocco Tardamella. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for doing this.
Good job, guys. Thank you for doing it.
What's cool
I
too
want
is I don't know if you see this, but like there's an insert in here that's actually like part of it's got the logo and stuff, which is kind of cool. So if you really wanted to, when I took the picture, I just put it in front of that. I mean, my picture wasn't fancy or anything. There's a lot better toy photographers out there, but it's cool that that was in there. It's a nice little touch on top of just giving you a flat, like black colored box or something like that.
right. Yeah, and you could make a display out of it.
Yeah.
That is so cool. We've got, Cobra Kai Wisdom joining us.
Hey.
Desire, devotion, discipline. Yes. And Clifford says, yes, he's the 3Ds, 100%. Darkest Hour asks, Ken, are you going to do the Oprah where you secretly bought one of those cherry figures for all of us in the
You get it.
audience?
You get it, Terry.
You get Terry Silver, and you get Terry Silver. I, I think if I were Terry Silver, I would probably do it. I
Yeah.
think that would be a Terry Silver thing to do, would be to give out action figures of himself.
Yeah.
I don't have the funds of Terry Silver, but maybe someday we can do something like
Do like
that.
a 40,000 channel subscriber giveaway or something.
Yeah, indeed. Jane has a question for you, Drew. Could you get certain paints that would stay on the plastic, like what they do with Games Workshop Warhammer figures?
Yeah, you could. I mean, I don't know the best paint that would stay, but there are certain ones where actually there's a smaller YouTube channel that's out there that's awesome. He does a lot of customs of DC multiverse figures, Toy Gains. Go check him out and subscribe to him. It's TOY Gains, I think. But he does a lot of different painting of his figures, and he's posted some videos and things, just YouTube shorts about how to customize those multiverse figures. But I'll see if I can share maybe next time, or I'll give Ken a link or something, or put it in the comments of just like some of the videos of how to customize some stuff. But I bet you it would be similar to what people are doing with Warhammer, because I know they come unpainted. But it's a good call, because otherwise it might rub off. Like, you don't want to just use like a Sharpie or something, right? You might want to seal it too. But definitely, you want to get like the right kind of paint for it.
Yeah, that's great. Great recommendation, Drew. NASA Canes fan says, Ken, will you be appearing with these at Paley Fest this year? That would be fun. I don't know, but stay tuned, stay subscribed, and I will give you all the updates.
How cool would that be to
Marianella
get
says,
Thomas to sign your box or something? That would be
oh,
just so cool.
that would be so cool. I would love that so much. Um, and then yes, Marianelle says, would you have to come with the option of a black or silver ponytail hair? Yeah, yeah. Um, Drew, this is so exciting, and I think, K Tom says Terry Silver will be out of jail for sure. We still need to see Kreese and Silver fight. A lot of people, now that production has started again on Cobra Kai season 6, and we can go through a quick collection of stories. What So people want to know what's going to happen, and I know people have been asking, Terry Silver, is he going to get out of jail? Are we going to see him again? Even, I don't know. Do you have a prediction? Are we going to see Terry again, Drew?
I would be shocked if we don't, and I would be very disappointed if we don't. I mean, I guess I'll accept it, because I think that you can't have a character like that and the last shot of him just be riding off on the back of a police car. Like, that's you're not. And look, we know obviously Hayden, John, and Josh are fans of Terry, especially Hayden, and we talked about it on this channel. I would be shocked if that's how they let him go out, to be honest, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not an insider. I mean, I'm just a fan like you guys. So I would be shocked if that was the case, and very disappointed. So I'm gonna say no, I don't think that's how he's gonna go out. If I could just will that into the universe.
I like it, Drew. Yeah, I like it. And I agree with you. I think Terry's got to be in there. Drew, I also want to let you know that when I posted on X about this live stream today, we got this response from Desolate Island.
Yeah.
Talk about Mike Barnes, please.
Yeah.
So Drew, let's talk about Mike Barnes. Good old Mike Barnes, because I know Terry gets a lot of attention, but Mike Barnes is a big character, big villain. Do you think we're going to see Mike Barnes again?
I hope so. I mean, it's nothing against the way that it worked, but I didn't think we got enough of him in the last season. I mean, I understand why, because he was away for a bit and you had to have that sort of reveal at the end there, but I hope we get more Mike Barnes, and they could go any direction with the character. Like, they sort of set it up so that maybe he was working for Terry. Maybe he really isn't working for Terry. Where's he going to be? He had the painting in the back of the limo at the end. Is he going to be in jail? Like, is he going to get in trouble for that? I mean, Terry might sue him. I don't know, it'd be interesting. I think Sean doesn't get enough love for the character, and I feel like, he does such a good job with Mike Barnes, and I feel like when he brought like, we talk a lot about Thomas returning to the character. Talk about a great actor like Sean. I know he's been on your channel before. It's cool to see him come back to it, and he said when we talked to him before the season, he wanted to put a new wrinkle into it, and it wasn't just the same character, and I like that he had a little bit of a different, spin on it, and it'll be interesting to see, but I hope we get more Mike Barnes. I think we should, and I think, Sean's done an awesome job with the character, so I would love to see what he could do with a little bit more screen time, personally. I don't know how you feel.
I do. I think that was one of my things about season 5. I know there's so much story happening in Cobra Kai. I really would love to see more Mike Barnes. Uh,
Yeah.
he's just, and they've made him, you're right, where he could go any direction, which I think is great. Like, you don't have a clue. Like, he could have reformed his life, or he could be like on the brink and about to be pushed off the edge. I mean, that how he was at the end
Yeah.
of season 5, he could go either way. So yes, I would love to see more Mike Barnes, and keep it here. I bet we will start to get discussions about what could happen in season 6. And I want to let you guys know, I am not about leaks. So if
I
there's
agree.
a leak, I'm not, we won't talk about that as far as story wise or whatever. We'll talk about something that's been observed. I'll bring this up in a second. We can talk about it. But as far as actual leaks, story points, or characters, photos on set, we won't do that.
I agree.
But oh, a shout out from Matt Moore, who's been a member for 6
Awesome.
months.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you, Matt. Thanks for being a member. All you channel members, thank you so much. Jaws follows up and says, "Your theory about Mike Barnes. Do you think Mike probably is married with Kim?" I don't know if he's married to Kim. Kim, Kim Daeun. I don't know, Drew, what you think. She seems like maybe a hard person to have a romantic relationship with.
Yeah.
But I I brought up in that video, I brought up the idea that maybe they could be working together, or
Sure.
Mike is not who we think he is. There was something fishy about that break into Terry's mansion, and Sensei Kim definitely seemed very dissatisfied with Terry for the back half of that season. So I don't know. I don't know, Drew. What do you think? Love between Mike Barnes and Kim Daeun?
I don't know. I don't know about love, but I think maybe a partnership could be in line, especially if they both have something against Terry, or Terry, kind of wronged them. She seemed very unhappy with Terry, as you said, and there was something weird and fishy about that break-in. I mean, they broke into his house, and then he's the one that goes to jail. Come on, man. That's just
Right.
ridiculous.
Indeed. Marianella says, "I have a crazy idea that maybe they put Terry in jail so that he can find the son he never knew he
Ooh,
had. He looked quite sorry for not having his own legacy." It's an interesting idea.
yeah, that would be interesting.
Melissa says, "For Drew, what do you think of the possibility of us meeting Master Kim's son, aka Sensei Kim's father, this season, along with Master Kim's backstory?"
I think anything that they could give us about Master Kim's backstory, I'll take, because there's a lot to tell there. I think, we've said this before, but I think the hardest thing is going to be, what do you wrap up? What do you leave as loose ends? I think they have a hard job ahead of them. I mean, I trust them. I mean, they've done a great job so far, but I think it's a tough job, because how much new do you introduce? And I would say this is new too, because it hasn't really been told. I mean, there was a little bit of the backstory, but it would be hard to balance, I think, that, and then all of the, the new characters, like, when I say new, like the newer characters with the legacy characters. That's why we need some spin-offs, I think, and I would love to see, like, a backstory show. Young Miyagi, we've talked about before, young Terry and Kreese would be great. Anything with Master Kim would be awesome. I mean, I'll take anything, but I hope it doesn't come at the expense of, like, trying to wrap things up and, tell the best story possible. That's how I would say it.
I love it. Uh, uh, Terry Johnson says, "Hello, Ken and Drew. Just got here and love your Terry action figures."
Thank you. I recommend it, Terry.
Indeed. Um, Jane says, "I think there's a lot of speculation in the show that Terry might be dying. That was the reason why he was in the hospital. He has desperate need for legacy." Yes, Jane, I am aware. I would direct you to my video titled "Terry Silver is Not Dying," where I play devil's advocate and go the complete opposite direction, that he is absolutely not dying whatsoever. And I take all the evidence that people have lined up that says he's dying, and I turn it on its head. So because we love Terry, we don't want to see him die. So
Yeah.
I think it could go in the opposite direction. Do you think Terry Silver's dying, Drew?
I don't I actually really like your video. If you guys haven't seen it, you should watch it. I don't think he's dying, and I think they could have set that up because maybe they wanted to go that way, but it wasn't obvious. I mean, I can understand the theory that people have out there, but I also would be disappointed if he was dying. Like, well, maybe not disappointed. That's maybe the wrong word. I'm not sure where that would be going, because I feel like, yeah, maybe it gives him more humanity of why he's doing this stuff, like, to your point, the legacy and that. But I also like the idea of him just lurking there to piss off Johnny and Carmen as well, just because he's like that, right? He's creepy, and I think that's what I like about him. So I think you
Mhm.
you touch on that in your video.
Yes, indeed. Um, Drew, let me get to another big topic. This has come out lately. It's this idea that they've confirmed that there will be another Karate Kid movie character in season 6 that has not appeared yet. And there's a lot of speculation. As soon as I get to it, I was thinking of doing a video myself talking about all
Mhm.
the potential characters it could be. But I wanted to get your thoughts on who you would like to see. Obviously, Hilary Swank, Julie Pierce is a big one. A lot of people have been asking for that one. A lot of people think it's going to be her. But the way John Hurwitz phrased it, he said at least one. So it could be more
Yeah.
than one. Do you think it's going to be Julie Pierce? Do you think who else do you think could appear?
I can tell you who I want it to be. I think it would be cool to see Julie Pierce, and I think we've talked about this before. I did not watch Next Karate Kid growing up. I just missed it, and then I didn't really wanna see it. So, watching it I think we watched it was it last year? I think when we did it, a stream here, and we did an
Yes.
episode on it. I honestly liked it way more than I thought I was going to. Is it a good movie? No, but was it enjoyable? Yeah, like, I had fun with it, and I appreciated the character of Julie Pierce, and again, as somebody who hadn't seen that one growing up, I was kinda, like, not sure what to expect from her. Obviously, Hilary Swank is an amazing and talented actress, right? So, if she showed up, I would not complain at all. I think it would be cool, and it would be kinda neat because she's still connected to Mr. Miyagi, obviously part of the broader Miyagi legacy. She was his other student besides Daniel. That would be cool. But I'm gonna tell you who I want it to be, and I want it to be Dennis because I want Sensei Ford to be able to come back to the character because and I know we probably wouldn't get Snake because I don't believe that Jonathan Avildsen is acting or really in the limelight these days. Obviously, you could go look
Or
that up
anywhere.
or
Yeah.
anywhere. I don't know if anyone knows where he is, but maybe you wouldn't get a Dennis without a Snake. But I would love to see Snake and Dennis because they were so connected to Terry Silver, and that's why I want to see it. Not just because oh, like throw this person in, throw that person in you didn't get a lot of their backstory in Karate Kid 3. And I think there's a story to tell there, especially if Terry's in jail. Maybe they're still around trying to help him out somehow, or maybe he has to reconnect with them. And I get it. If you can't get Jonathan Avildsen, you could if you could get Sensei Ford, I think that'd be amazing. And I would love to see him in the show. I think it would be so cool. And it would connect now to, what I think the new like legacy is, and it's a nice way to connect it back. So that's my dream, because I think those 2 characters are just so cool, and I think they're connected to him. So not just like I said, randomly wanting someone to show up. Like I think there's a reason for it. So I don't know if you would agree with me.
Uh, I do. In fact, I was kind of hoping that they might show up sooner.
Yeah.
As we had the reintroduction of Terry Silver in season 4. I was hoping maybe season 5 we would see Dennis and Snake. Um, I think there are ways you could bring Dennis in if
Mhm.
Jonathan Alvinson's not available to play Snake. Because the great thing about Sensei Ford is that he is, I know he probably wouldn't like me to use the word master, but he's a martial
He
arts
is.
expert. Like he's incredible. Obviously he's an actor. He looks cool. He has like this amazing badass hair.
Yeah.
It's just he would be really great, and you could put him anywhere. It'd be great to see him. I thought that he did so much in Karate Kid 3, and he didn't have hardly any lines, but he
No.
was such kind of an imposing presence, and through his skill, like we saw his martial arts skill, and yeah, I would love to see Dennis back.
Yeah.
Um, and I see other people. Afonso says so. Yeah, I agree. DJ Club Rule says Freddie Fernandez. Yeah, he that would be cool to see back. I um I think if they're gonna bring Julie Pierce back, I'd love to see Colonel Dugan.
Yeah.
Michael Ironside is still. He's acting very often right now. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if he would agree to do it, but the guy did Highlander too. So, I would think he would be up for anything, So,
Yeah.
he's an amazing actor, and I don't know how you'd bring him back. I think he would be great. That you could bring Colonel Dugan in to bring order to the school. There's been a lot of discipline problems at that school with martial arts. I can't think of anyone. If you want to lock down a school, can't think of anyone better to do that than Colonel Dugan, you know?
Get the Alpha Elite back.
Yeah.
I just need them bungee jumping into the gymnasium. That's how I need him to arrive, or him and his posse to arrive. That's like the only way I could accept it. But no, I agree with you. I mean, Michael Ironside's awesome. The last movie that I watched with him was I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Nobody. It was
Nobody.
with Bob Odenkirk, and
Yes.
great movie, honestly. It's kinda like John Wick-ish. I mean, I think, in fact, someone directed it. I think the director was associated with John Wick, if I'm not mistaken. Great movie, but Michael Ironside was in that too, and he's awesome. He's a great voice actor. He's a great talent, and I think if you're gonna have Julie Pierce back, or even if you don't, like, I think you could bring him back. And you did a bunch of videos, which I highly encourage everybody to go check out, but could he have been in Vietnam with Terry and Kreese? Like, the story's there if they wanted it, so it's set up nicely. Like, it wouldn't be that far of a stretch, in my opinion, to do it. It's not like, "Oh, who is this guy? Oh, you're just grasping at straws." Like, they set it up so that they could go there if they wanted to, in my opinion.
Exactly. And Dugan's a wild card. Like he's definitely unstable.
Yep.
And you've got Kreese in an interesting position now where he's on the run, and you might call someone like Dugan if you knew him in the war and had that experience, like I theorize that he was in that same POW camp. That could be someone who you would call if you needed to do something. Like if you wanted to, say, get your troops together and mount some kind of takeover or something like
Yeah.
that, you could call a Colonel Dugan and he would be all into that. Jason says Dugan could be connected to Terry Silver and get Silver out of jail. Yes. Jaws brings up an interesting point. Julie Pierce, Dutch, and Dugan. So Chad McQueen has said before, his family has said that he will not be appearing in the Cobra Kai series. So I guess, do you think there's a chance, Drew, that he could change his mind?
I mean, there's always a chance, and I don't think they're gonna come out and say, "Oh, well, he changed his mind." Like, I think if anything, because it's been so long, and he hasn't appeared, I think it would be one of those scenarios where they would still publicly say that, and then he would be in it. I don't blame him. I mean, I get it if you've moved on from this or you just don't wanna do it. Like, I respect that. I think that's
Yeah.
fine, and I think, the fans obviously wanna see him because it would be awesome to have him there. He's like the number 1 name that I see that pops up all the time, right? Because you had a lot of the other Cobras and all that. So, I understand why people want him in there, and I think it would be really cool if he were to come back. I think, to me, it's probably less than a 50% chance. Like, I would normally say, oh, 50-50, based on how strongly they've said it, but it could be a ruse. I mean, if you're ever gonna come back, the last season would be the one to do it, especially since what they're saying is, like, all these other things, minus potential spinoffs, don't have anything to do with this universe, right? That movie that they said or whatever. So that could be the case, but I don't think we'll see him. I personally don't,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
You're right. You think that probably by now you would have seen him because it's been
Yeah.
we've had 3 seasons since, that Cobras episode, Take a Right. So
Yeah.
I know I'd love to see it, but yes, I agree. Um, Terry Johnson says, I'm just afraid of someone as popular as Julie taking up too much screen time and taking away from Terry and others. I would prefer smaller characters like Dennis and Snake.
Yeah, I could understand that. So I kind of agree with you, Terry. Like, I mean, especially if, and I don't know how these things work. I'm not connected in Hollywood, but it'd be interesting. Like, would Hillary come back and say, "Well, I'll do it if I get this amount of screen time," or maybe she just wants a cameo? Like, it would be interesting to see because she's obviously busy with a lot of projects. So I don't know. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she either just had a child or was pregnant. If I'm not
Twins.
mistaken, twins, right? So, maybe that would limit her ability to be, heavily involved in it too. But it could be like when you had Jessica Andrews, come back, or it's like an episode thing. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. It would be interesting, but I understand your point, Terry, and I think I would agree with that too.
Okay, Drew, I have a prediction or an idea, let's call it that, about the Julie Pierce character. Okay. I think if they bring Julie Pierce back in a supporting role, maybe for a couple episodes, a few episodes, they will transition. We've been talking a lot about Cobra Kai spinoffs. I think there's a good chance that Julie Pierce could get her own spinoff show. And I think that would make too much sense because Hilary
Yeah.
Swank is a star. And I think that if you're going to do a spinoff show, you could have it starring Hilary Swank as
Yep.
Julie Pierce, and it would be her spinoff in the Miyagi verse. I can't believe they haven't thought about that. I like the idea of having someone with the star power of Hilary Swank headlining a Miyagi verse or Cobra Kai show. I mean, I think it's a given, right? What do you think? Could they do that?
I think they definitely could. It depends on whether she wants to or not. I think that would be the thing. And what story do you tell? So is she teaching a new group of students? Is it more connected to some other things that she's doing? Her character arc was interesting in the next Karate Kid, right? Like she was very different than Daniel. I feel like in a lot of ways, and I think that was, and that's something I didn't know going into that. Having self-confessed, right? Like I had not seen that growing up. So it's interesting. I think they could take it different ways because Daniel obviously is he you could see why he falls back on the teachings of Miyagi so much, and I think Julie didn't have 3 movies to sort of build that bond, it was more 1, but her character was in a different place in her life than Daniel was, you know? She was just very different, and maybe that's why I kind of enjoyed that movie more than I thought I would, just because it was a different take on it, and I didn't give it the credit before seeing it. Like, again, it's not a great movie, it's not a great film, but I enjoyed it as a movie, and I think you're right, like, she definitely has the star power to do it. Whether she wants to or not, I think is the big question. So,
Right. And for everyone just going like, "Whoa," like, I think it would just depend, like, if they introduce her character in season 6 and introduce her to everyone
yeah.
and the conflicts and the villains, I think that that could set her character up for a direction in her own series. Maybe she takes over the mantle. It could be something where Daniel kind of appears in a recurring guest role or something like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's something I haven't seen discussed a lot, but I have to believe, given her star power,
Yeah.
that's the kind of person you base an entire series around is Hilary Swank. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
Something to
it could
think
be
about.
done. Yeah, it'd be tough because, I mean, you think about all the spinoffs that they could do. I mean, obviously, we all want Dynatox. I think that's the one
Of course, yes.
that we're all hoping happens, and I'll just keep writing letters to, to Sony over this or something. But I would love to see that, but you're right, like, I think of all of the characters and you didn't get the other 2 movies with her, it was just 1, so there's maybe more story to tell too, on top of her being an amazing actress and having that star power, so I think it's a good call.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Governor Anders says Snake would be a great character to bring back. Could parody the scene where he meets Daniel in Karate Kid 3 as his promo trailer. Yeah, exactly. Um, and Marianella says, "What if it's Terry who calls Dugan?" Yep,
Yeah,
very. I could see that.
needs some backup,
100%.
especially if Kreese is, him and Kreese are beefing, so bringing his buddy Dugan.
That was. Wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be beautiful if they all knew each other in the POW Camp Drew, and it's Dugan who comes back and talks sense into both of them and
Yeah,
convinces everyone to join forces again?
I like I don't need a world where Terry and Kreese are fighting anymore. Like, I'm glad when it happened, and I thought it was great, but they've got bigger fish to fry, and
Exactly.
to be honest, I mean, we haven't really talked about this, but talk about whether Terry is innocent or not. I mean, Kreese escaped from jail, so he's absolutely guilty of that. So,
Right.
like, I mean, Terry has got the best lawyers in the world, and he's got a lot of funds at his disposal. What does Kreese have? He snuck out. Revenge, I
Mhm.
guess. That's what he's got, which is a powerful emotion, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, I guess. I need Terry to be in the series more, and I want him to win, even though I know he won't. But I just want him to be on top in the end, and I know he won't, unfortunately. So I can pretend.
Yes, indeed. NASA Canes fan with another super chat. Thank you so much, NASA. Is it something where Chad McQueen playing Dutch, head faked us and Dutch will be outing? 'Cause a lot of people are speculating that the series will end with at least a wedding, maybe between Johnny and Carmen, and that it would make sense for Dutch to be there and all his friends, his Cobra friends, to be there at the wedding. I don't know, Drew. Like that, I know you said less than 50% chance he could appear, but could this be some head fake, some big surprise?
Yeah. I mean, I think they could, and like I said before, they're not gonna tell you, "Oh, he changed his mind," or whatever. I think they're gonna maintain he won't be in it until he's in it. And I think
Mhm.
because why change the narrative of that? I think that would be a fitting way to get him involved too, where it's like, "Hey, it's not a ton to commit to." It's like, "Hey, let's get you." Like, I think about, was it The Office, right? When they had Michael Scott come back and, he's in it for a minute and stuff like that. So, there's ways to incorporate the characters like that without making it a huge commitment, and I think it would be a nice way. I'd be curious to see if they end with a wedding. I mean, you see a lot of shows do that kinda thing, and I think it would make sense to do that because it brings everybody together, and then it leaves things on a really positive note. So, I think that that would be interesting to see.
Interesting. Yeah, I think so too. Well, we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. Darkest Hour says, does Dugan officially outrank Terry and John? If so, they'd listen to him if he wanted unification. Well, that's interesting. A colonel, and I don't know much about the army rankings in the army.
Yeah.
Does a colonel outrank a captain?
I
We
should
know
know
Kreese was
this.
captain.
I have to look this up.
Yeah, we
Army
need
ranks.
we'll need to look this up.
Let me look this up. Let's see. I have to yeah, I should know this, but I don't. So, let's see.
Is a colonel. Some of you who are serving right now or
Yeah,
have served, let us know in the chat if you know
it does look like it's higher, if
the
I'm not
colonel's higher.
mistaken. I think it is,
Okay.
yeah. According to Army dot
Okay.
mil. Yeah, I think it does. So, yes, I should know that, but now we know.
That's so interesting. So Colonel Dugan could come in and totally pull rank on Terry and Kreese if they're still in their army mindset.
Yeah,
Yep, we
assuming
got
that
Matt
Kreese
Payne saying.
didn't get yeah, assuming that Kreese didn't get promoted before he left, right? And we just never knew. Like, he might his picture might have said captain, but who knows?
Right. And I
Recall
have a
that.
feeling that he didn't because Terry calls him captain in
Right,
Karate Kid 3. So I'm
right.
thinking maybe he left being a captain.
Yeah,
Wow. So basically, and NASA says general outranks colonel. So it's colonel then to general. So colonel's pretty high.
yeah. It looks like yeah, there's colonel, brigadier general, major general, lieutenant general, general, and then general of the army. So that's yeah,
Wow.
interesting.
That is interesting. Well, Drew, this has been an amazing discussion today. We've covered news, we've covered theories on Cobra Kai season 6. It's great to talk about Terry Silver again, and thank you for bringing your Terry Silver action figure.
Yes. He's just gonna look down at everybody here. Get me.
He is that your pose is perfect. I love that. I think I'm gonna have to put mine in
It's
that
it's
pose.
simple, but it's effective, I feel. I was gonna try to have him do something else, but then I thought like, well, that's how he stands, right? And the one if I had one complaint about this, it's I feel like the arms flare out too much. It's too hard to get him into like a regular sort of neutral pose, so that's why I put him like that. It's not perfect,
Mhm.
but he's just kind of standing there with his hands behind his back, just looking at the students. So
As Terry would say, perfect.
perfect. Exactly.
Perfect. Yes. Well, thank you, Drew, for joining us today. Everyone, check out the Last Row podcast, new episode, Die Hard, which is great, well worth your time. Go follow Last Row podcast on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for your super chats and your support. It means so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button, and we will have more KenCast in the future. And for all of you members who are finalists and above, in less than 20 minutes, I'll be doing just a special live stream with you guys where we can chat about whatever you'd like. So, Drew, thank you so much, and my best to you
Thank
and your
you.
family.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully, this will be a Terry fun new year.
I love it, and I love the thumbnail for this video. It was very genius. So, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
I
everybody.
really appreciate it. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. All right, Drew, we'll see you.
Bye.
Want to be part of the live KenCast show? Subscribe to the Ken Cole YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get alerts about every new show. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast.